everyone, how are you and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. If you are coming across this channel for the first time, you are so very much welcome. My name is Chinenye and this is Ijeamatu Fans. So here we discuss how to reduce risk associated with livestock farming and as well make money from catfish farming as well as pig farming. So if you're an unemployed youth, educated or not, a retiree, or you just want to diversify your income and then you're looking towards fishery or piggery, this channel is the right place to be. Turn on the bell button so you'll be notified each time we post a new video. Like and share this video and drop your opinion down the comment section. So in today's video, I will be promising you a whole lot of value. Assuming you are looking towards starting up a pig farm and you don't know how to start, you don't know anything about livestock farming, you don't even know how to go about it, then you have to watch this video to the end, because by the time you are done, you'll be getting a whole lot of insight on how to go about starting up your pig farm, right? Shouldn't ignore this at all, okay? Now the first thing is the location of your farm. Where are you planning to locate your farm? I did a video on most of the reasons people shy away from eating pig. And apart from hygienic issue, another major reason why people don't eat pork is because of religious reason. Now, like some of us know that Islams, they don't eat pork, they forbid pork. Now, if you go ahead to locate your farm in a place densely populated by Islams, you're doing yourself a whole lot of wrong, because none of them will patronize you, okay? You will only be getting customers from very far away. Now, do you think that those people that are coming far away, they don't have any pig farm around there? Okay, so assuming you're in Nigeria, there are so many places you can locate your middle belt. Southeast here, the people are now eating pork a lot. As a matter of fact, grilled meats that people call suya are gradually fading away. People now have an open mind towards pork, towards pig. Southwest, middle belt, south, and then some places in the north that also have Christians. Those places, you can set up your pig farm around there. But when you go ahead to locate your pig farm in Maiduguri, in somewhere that you know that are core Muslims, take note of where you plan to locate your pig farm, okay? The next point is also based on location. Now, I did a video on some challenges of pig farming. Right now, the headache most farmers are facing is how to reduce the cost of their feed. And like some of us know that feeding contributes about more than 70% of inputs in your livestock business. It's just something that you'll be buying constantly. And then we are faced with the issue of how do we reduce the cost of our feed and also give quality feed to our livestock, okay? Now, one of the things you should also consider is, where do I locate my farm? How do I locate my farm in such a place that getting those feed will be more cheaper for me, okay? Sometimes, most of those feed are not just so expensive. Then by the time you finish calculating the cost of bringing them to your farm, sometimes you find out that you are even paying more on transport than on the actual feed. So what do I mean? You should also consider the feed you can find around you. For instance now, getting a maize is just so exorbitant for me, okay? Because my locality, they're not known for producing maize at all. By the time I buy maize and I find out that the price is just so much, and now what do? I just have to get an energy source of feed that is closer to my locality. By so doing, I'm bringing down the cost of my feed. Do you understand? Locate your farm in a place that will be cost effective for you, that will be easier for you to find feed, which is a very major contributing factor to your pig farming. All right, so the next point is the choice of your pen. I did a video on different pig pen construction method. If you've not seen it, you can go and check it out. It will give you an insight into what different pen looks like. And if you plan going towards conventional pig pen, you should also know that it also has its own challenges. How do you plan channeling your waste? It also affects your location, because you should also know that you cannot site that kind of pen in somewhere that your neighbors will be complaining. How do you plan converting it to biogas? Okay, all this you should also take into consideration. How do you go about it? Do you want to sell your dung? How do you go about it? So the choice of your pen also matters. Okay, so but I advise you, I did several videos of different pen construction method. I advise you go for the ones that is cheaper, which I've done, because it has several benefits. I've said a lot about that. Okay, now the next point is water supply. Hey, water supply. If there's no, one thing I find out about pig farming, about farming in general, about even planting, is that when there is no water, just forget about planting. When there is no water, forget about planting. If you are into fish farming, you will feel that pig farming is just synonymous with water. But I tell you that planting as a whole, animal husbandry as a whole, requires water. Okay? Pig farming is also not excluded, because pigs, they drink water a whole lot. So if you're siting a place in somewhere that you will not get a good volume of water, just forget about it, because you wouldn't want to know how much you'll be spending on tankers buying water. They drink water a lot, because as some of us know, their body doesn't accept the humid condition. They are constantly hot, so they need water. And if you are going towards getting a conventional method, what about cleaning your pen? You also need water to be cleaning the pen daily. Pigs, they drink water. They need sometimes wallowing trough. Do you plan building wallowing trough in your pen? Okay, so how do you go about it? Now, still on choice of pen, please, I've gone to several farms this year, and I noticed that some will also build water trough. This is not a wallowing trough. Water trough, somewhere that they will be pouring water every day. They will be pouring water every minute. Please, how long do you do that daily? I just want to know. We also automate our farms. Things that are not necessary in 2023. Please, those ones that are good for you to automate your farm, because labor here is not very cheap. And even if it's cheap, how effective is it? How effective is labor here? Can you travel for 1 month and beat your chest that things are going well in your farm? How much do you trust your farm workers? If you turn your back, will they be up and doing? Will they be discharging their duties? Okay, so all these things, please get nipple. Apart from the fact that getting water from the nipple is a very clean source of getting water without contamination, it will also save you a whole lot of stress. Also reduce risk of disease, reduce risk of infection, because those trough that they get water from can be harboring dirt, it can be harboring worms, it can be harboring a whole lot of infection. So nipple drinker is very affordable. Please get it and then make things easier for you, for your pig, and at the end of the run, it also improves your profits. Now the next one is start small. Please start small. I know you have the money. By the time you finish calculating your profits, when you start small, it will be small. But when you start big, calculate your profits, it will also be big. One thing about pig farming, they give birth in a good way, okay? In a way that is very, very interesting, okay? So by the time, and then starting small, like some of us know, is very relative. Of course, if you start with a bow and 2 sew or 3 sew or 4 sew, it's just starting small. There's no two ways about it. It's small. But by the end of the year, you find out that you will be growing. If you know what you are doing, you will be growing. Because by the time they start giving birth, you find out at the end of the year, your pigs the numbers has gone really high. Okay? Now, but when you start big, like starting with 50 sows, 50 female pigs, if you start with 50 female pigs and then both, of course, they're starting big. Now, when they start following, you should know that by when you start with such amounts, at the end of the year, you will be producing, each source will be producing nothing less than 20 piglets. Now, calculate 20 piglets times 50. That will be 1,000 piglets in your farm. Please, can you be able to manage it? What about feeding them? The cost of feeding is also something to look out for. Because by the time they start following, it also means that the feed you are giving them also be high. Okay? Sometimes I see some farmers that plan to go towards breeding. That is towards wearing the head in a way that even when they are fattening them, they will also keep them to follow. By the time they attain the market weight, because of lack of money to continue feeding them, they will just sell it off. Okay, so please, when you start small, you can be able to manage it, you can be able to learn. When you start so big, sometimes when they start developing issues, when they start having problems, you find yourself running helter-skelter. You won't even know when you start seeking for advice from a poultry farmer. And by the time you understand what you are doing, you've already implemented what a poultry farmer tells you to do. Okay, so you'll be that confused. Okay, so start small, grow big. If you don't know what you are doing, if you are not knowledgeable about this, and then start so big, it will be very handy. Okay, now the next one is, which area do you intend to go? Do you intend going towards breeding or fattening? Okay, fattening in the sense that as soon as they attain the market weight, you just sell them off. Breeding in the sense that even when they attain the market weight, you have to keep them to follow. Okay, now as interesting as breeding is, you also know that you have to keep money for feeding, because by the time they attain the market weight, you have to also continue feeding them. Pregnancy state, lactating state, okay, so you have to continue keeping them, and which in turn means that you'll be spending more on feeding. So you have to make provision for all those and brace yourself towards that. Okay, now the next point is invest in knowledge. Okay, because this requires a whole lot of things. A pig farmer is someone that manages costs. If you don't manage your costs, you feel it's nothing. But by the time you do it over and over again, you find out that money is going. And at the end of the day, profit is going. Okay? You are doing yourself a whole lot of good by investing in knowledge. Don't forget that faith, some of them cannot come immediately you call them. Okay, so what happens by the time your animal is developing issue? What happens at that point? How do you go about it? Sometimes, even if you call vet today, do you call it tomorrow? Do you call it next tomorrow? There are a whole lot of things to learn. Find a farmer that have done this business for some time and then understudy what is going on there. It will save you a whole lot of tears. It will save you a whole lot of money. It will also be very, very beneficial to you, because you will go ahead to train your staff. You go ahead to train your farm workers. Do you want to be butchering your pig yourself? Do you want to be selling to middlemen that at the end of the day they also sell to butchers? Do you want to be selling to butchers direct? All this you should know, and you should know that each decision you make has its own challenges. They have its pros and cons. If you want to be butchering yourself, you know that butchering have a special scale. You don't just bring out your pig and start butchering. Okay, how do you go about the market? Okay, where is your location, where you are accessible to consumers? All this you should put into consideration. Of course, you should know that butchering it yourself, it's the main deal, because you make more profit from butchering yourself than selling to middlemen. To get your consumers ready, you don't just butcher and pack. You have to get your consumers ready. Okay, that is it. Now the next one is, please, this is rainy season, and I keep hammering on biosecurity. Please take your biosecurity very serious. But whenever around here, please take your biosecurity very serious. This is not time for you to expose your farm to everybody. This is not time for you to be going to different farms and then getting a whole lot of nyama nyama to your farms. Another thing is taking your boer, because sometimes when you have a very strong good boer, good breed, people will be tempted to bring in their soil to you for this to cross, and then at a fee, or maybe at the end of the day, they will give you some piglets. As interesting as this sounds, this is a very cheapest and express way to get your farm closed down. Because by the time they get an infected soil to your farm, or by the time your boer get to another farm and get infected, it will be a disaster. Okay, if you want to start a pig farm, have a limited amount of money, you have a very limited amount of money, advise you rent a farm instead. Because when you don't have land, you have not even fenced it, you have to build pen, water supply and all that. At the end of the day, you have to get your piglets and then feed. It will cost you money. It requires money. It requires money, no two ways about it. But if you have a limited amount of money, advise you rent a pen. By the time you rent a farm and then all you have to do is, that has all those provisions, all you have to do is to get piglets and then feed. Okay, so it will save you a whole lot of stress, it will save you a whole lot of money, and then know how it goes. Okay, by the time you now think of getting your own place. So what I advise is, when you have limited amount of money, is to rent a farm, rent pen. Okay, now in renting farm, you should also know that if you rent a pen in a community, in a place where there are several farms around you, in a place where there are several pen that belongs to several people around you, it has its own advantage. Okay, in the sense that if you are confused, you see someone to ask question. Okay, if you want to get feed, you people can match and then transport yourself and get feed. It has its own benefits, but you should also know that when there is any form of epidemic, it will be very difficult for your farm to be free from it. Okay, so getting your farm in a place, situating your farm or locating your pen or renting a pen in a place where there are several farms or several pen around that belongs to several people. So that is it on how to go about starting your pig farm. I'm sure you gain a whole lot of value. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell button so you'll be notified each time we post a new video. Like and share this video and drop your opinion